Boxstar Forum, it's your boy Terry L, and I'm back at y'all with another one. Man, we got some boxing news. We got some boxing fights coming up. But this one I'm a little bit excited about. It's the light heavyweight division, and it's between Beterbiev versus Marcus Browne. Now, I'm excited about this fight because this fight is a fight that I believe could be a sleeper in the sense that y'all sleeping on this one. Now, Marcus Browne is someone who's fought in some tough fights. He fought Badou Jack, who he won, although Badou Jack had moved up to light heavyweight after campaigning at 168 for quite a while. Two-time world champion. So some would say that he was a smaller man, Badou Jack, when he fought Marcus Browne. He's also lost controversially, although he did get beaten up by Jean Pascal, which is his only loss. And that was stopped due to a cut, but Pascal dropped him like 3 times in that fight. And he has some pretty big wins, Marcus Browne. Now, as far as Beterbiev, everyone knows about Beterbiev, who is WBC champ. So this is a title fight. They're fighting in Montreal, Canada, this December 17th. So Friday night, it's going to be on like popcorn up in Montreal, which is where Beterbiev resides. He's actually Russian, but he lives or resides in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So effectively, he's going to his new home. And Marcus Browne being American, just going across the border. And he's going to fight for the title, hopefully to break things up in the light heavyweight division, because the winner of this fight could possibly get a shot at Canelo. I'm not sure if Marcus Browne wins this fight, if Canelo opts to fight him, because Marcus Browne being the fresher fighter, boxing skills for days, I think Canelo stays away from him. But if Beterbiev wins, that's a fight that will interest Canelo, and Canelo probably takes that fight. And we'll get into that in a minute. But let's examine these two fighters, and let's see what y'all think as I break these fighters down. So Beterbiev, as everyone knows, is a hard-hitting Russian. Beterbiev is someone who is 16-0. All 16 wins come by way of knockouts. He's had some impressive wins. Alexander Varstik, who was at that stage undefeated. There were 2 undefeated champions going at each other, and Varstik has his only defeat came to Beterbiev. Hasn't fought since he lost to Beterbiev, but that's probably due to COVID and various other things. He's also beat Adam Dennis, who fought a pretty good fight. Dennis actually boxed his face off most of that fight before he got dropped, and he was 20-2. Second loss came by way of losing to Beterbiev. He's also beaten Kalashnik, and he's well, you can say Enrico Koling he's beaten, but that's not really a marquee fight. But he's nonetheless knocked him out. And let's not forget, he's also beaten Callum Johnson of the UK. And Callum Johnson's only loss came to losing to Beterbiev. Now, I must note in that Callum Johnson fight, as in several other fights, Beterbiev has been dropped. Callum Johnson did drop him, I believe it was in the 2nd round of that fight. I did watch that fight. Pretty good fight. Callum Johnson gave a good account of himself. After being dropped by Beterbiev, got up and actually dropped Beterbiev. And Beterbiev has been dropped a couple of times. So it's one of those things where you look at Beterbiev, although he's a hard-hitting, strong champion that knocks out all his opponents, he can be gotten to, but we'll get to that also in a minute. But just to note, he has been dropped a couple of times in his professional career. Callum Johnson, as you know, will be fighting Joe Smith Jr. In January January or February of next year, 2022, for the WBO light heavyweight title. And there's a chance of putting the Beast from the East in the mix, who just won that fight on the past weekend, Anthony Yarde, as he avenge his loss to Lyndon Arthur, and Anthony Yarde will probably get the winner of the Callum Johnson, Joe Smith Jr. fight, and hopefully will fight for WBO title, whoever wins that fight, as I pointed out to in a previous podcast. So there's a lot of implications happening in the light heavyweight division. So I'm really looking forward to this particular fight. Now, let's get to Marcus Browne for a minute. So Browne is 24-1, as I mentioned before. His only loss came to Jean Pascal, the Canadian, an older Jean Pascal. Just to note the age of Beterbiev. Beterbiev is 36 years old. So it's quite old for someone who's only had 16 professional fights. Marcus Browne, on the other hand, is 31 years old. When he lost to Jean Pascal, he was about 28 years old, undefeated at the time. Has since come back and has some really good wins since then. He's beaten he's a 2012 Olympian, so he has beaten Badou Jack, as I mentioned before. That was a unanimous decision win. Some people criticize him that he fought the smaller man, but still couldn't knock out Badou Jack. But Badou Jack is a two-time world champion and a very tough opponent. He's lost to Jean Pascal. He's he's beaten a journeyman. I shouldn't really mention this, but he has beaten a journeyman. But it was Leonard Castillo, which, for the record, if you want to mention that win, you can. He looked good in that fight, but he's also fought in Sean Monaghan. That was a pretty good fight, and I think that it's worth mentioning that Marcus Browne doesn't really get the credit for being a big puncher, but he has delivered some knockout punches. He has 16 knockouts to his resume, and as a former Olympian, he's very experienced as a fighter, amateur as well as professionally. Now, so in terms of skill-wise, the reason why I like this matchup, I think skill-wise, this fight suits Marcus Browne to a T, purely because Beterbiev is a very straightforward come-to fighter. He doesn't really fight with angles, whereas Marcus Browne does fight at angles. And if you look at all of Beterbiev's fights, he does get outboxed quite a bit. But because he's so tough, he eats a punch and he'll deliver a punch. And sometimes he'll eat one or two straight right hands to deliver 3 or 4 right hands or 3 or 4 combination punches. But they're powerful, hard-hitting combinations. If the fight goes the distance, or most observers and British boxing commentators believe that if the fight goes the distance, it could favor Marcus Browne because, as we know, Beterbiev hasn't gone the distance in any of his fights because he's knocked out all his opponents. However, because of the boxing skills that Marcus Browne possesses, he's a very slick boxer. He throws punches and bunches. He doesn't just pot shot. He doesn't just throw single shots. He throws a lot of combinations. He's very athletic. Ringmanship is very good. He moves around the ring quite a bit. And I just think that someone like this fighter can really upset Beterbiev. I think it's a big ask for Marcus Browne because Beterbiev is strong. He'll eat punches for breakfast. And when he gets into his rhythm, he just comes in straight lines, but he doesn't throw reckless shots. He's very accurate, very economical with his punches, but they're very hard-hitting punches. That's hard to find in boxers, someone who's very economical, but throws economical but hard punches. And that's where Beterbiev comes to life. I think he's a quality opponent, very worthy champion, true champion. And I think it's going to be a tough task for Marcus Browne. I'll be tuning in. I'll be watching it because I want to see what happens with Marcus Browne, whether he could deliver. I do believe he could deliver the upset as long as he could use his boxing skills. If he boxes Beterbiev the way he boxed, say, Badou Jack, throw punches and bunches, stick a move in and out, then he can frustrate Beterbiev and just win probably a points decision. I don't believe he has the power to knock out Beterbiev. And what a lot of boxing observers, I read some reports about Marcus Browne. A lot of boxers and observers believe that the reason why he lost to Jean Pascal is that once he got his combinations up against Jean Pascal, he started admiring his punches, and Pascal just caught him with a hard-hitting overhand right and dropped him with almost the same punch 2-3 times in that fight. So that's the problem that that Marcus Browne has. When you look at that fight against Jean Pascal, when the fight was stopped, it was stopped due to a clash of heads, and the cut was so severe he couldn't continue. Obviously, when a fight stops after, according to certain boxing councils, you go to the judges' scorecards. By that stage, the fight was in, I believe, round 9 or round 10 at that time. At that stage, it might have been round 8, because I think when the headbutt happened, it was in the 8th round, and then it went to judges' scorecards, and then obviously it was a unanimous decision. All the judges had it in favor of Jean Pascal. So based on that, you can say one of his weaknesses, Marcus Browne, is that he loves to admire himself once he throws his flashy combinations. Nonetheless, besides that, his boxing skills is truly admirable, and I think that will be the saving grace for him against his fight against Beterbiev. When you fight a knockout puncher, a knockout specialist, as Beterbiev is, I personally go with the boxer, because if you put a knockout specialist against a good boxer or a boxer puncher, it always favors a boxer puncher. All the boxer needs to do is stay out of range of the knockout specialist and frustrate him, and then you can nick or steal a decision. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Marcus Browne by decision. And I hope that he comes in tip-top shape, which he's always in tip-top shape. Beterbiev is going to be in tip-top shape. He is going to enemy territory. He's going to Montreal. So he can't think going there for the knockout unless he sees the knockout. However, he's going to have to really box the fight of his life. But I think he's able to steal a decision. It's not unusual to go to Canada and get a decision. We know that David Haye went to Canada when he fought, it was Jean Pascal, because Jean Pascal is now 38, I believe. It was 36 at the time when he fought very young Marcus Browne. And it was a fight that Marcus Browne should have won, because it was like an 8-year gap. However, when he fought against, when David Haye went to Canada, fought against a favorable Jean Pascal, he won and became undisputed champion, and then he moved up to heavyweight division, with the heavyweights. So the reality is, it's not impossible to go to enemy territory and find or get a decision. That's my take on that particular fight. I believe that this fight will be one of the fights of the year. I'm not sure why people aren't bigging that up. The implication of this fight is also big for Beterbiev, because there's talk of Beterbiev fighting Canelo if he wins, because Canelo could possibly fight Beterbiev, and he fancies himself. Now, you tell me what you think. That's my view. Box Off Forum. Hit the like and subscribe button. Leave your comments below, and we are going to give you some more boxing content. But I had to give you one on this one, because I'm not sure why people aren't talking about this fight, but this is a fight to see. That's all I got for y'all. I'm out until the next one. Peace.